Today's video deals with how to turn friction hinges on an RV door into this. Non-friction hinges. This door, unfortunately for me, had a lot of problems. It was in crooked. The weather stripping was not meeting up here. So I did some major surgery to it to make it work. But it had the dreaded friction hinges. And I did do another video dealing with how to fix them where I stated you needed to take the door off the trailer. I haven't published that video. I will later. But one thing I've realized is you can turn friction hinges into normal hinges without taking the whole door frame off your trailer. As you can see here, this is just some temporary tape to prevent the hinges from contacting the caulking that I put in there. But you can see that I've used just plain old pop rivets to hold this door back on. The rivets you see, if you have friction hinges on your RV, you will see that the rivets are blind rivets that are basically hydraulically set at the factory where they make the doors. It's much easier to drill them if you can get in from the behind, because it gives you a natural sort of dished point that your drill bit won't bounce off of. They're just aluminum. They're not steel or stainless steel, but they're some sort of aluminum alloy. They're fairly strong, but they're not hard to drill. But when you look at your hinges on your RV now, you'll see the blind rivet has no center hole like a pop rivet does. But if you just take a punch and put it on that rivet and get a good hole punch divot started, you'll be able to drill that out with an 1/8 inch drill bit. That way you can just unscrew the door, take the screws out, take the door off from the frame, drill out the rivets, and then just drive them in there with a punch similar to this. Just get your hole drilled. You won't be able to drill the whole thing out, and you don't really want to make the hole any bigger than it already is, because it's an 1/8 inch hole, which works great with 1/8 inch pop rivets. Now, the reason they use a blind rivet at the factory with these friction hinges, as far as I can tell, is because of the amount of strain a friction hinge puts on the door frame. When I had the friction hinge on here, you could see, yes, it does creak a little bit, you could see the whole frame buckling when you opened and closed the door. And it's terrible. I think it's a terrible design. I don't care. I've seen the video where the guy explains why he likes it and all this stuff, but I don't. And I don't think, judging from the replies I've seen on some RV forums, I don't think there's very many people that like these friction hinges. But anyway, that is a simple way to get the hinge off the frame. Pop a little punch on there so you can get a drill bit on there, and then just drive them back in. Then you can take the whole hinge off. Now, you'll see right here, there's a little split there. That is what makes it easy to take these apart. You put this into your vise, and then just wiggle back and forth while you're pulling, and you can pull the hinge apart. And then you can do one at a time. Some of them aren't forced together, so they'll naturally come apart. But you'll have to put the vise in on some of the other ones and work them free. Once you get them worked free, you can use what I used to drill out the ones that you've pulled free. This is the bit I used. Unfortunately, I can't read it, but I measured it all, and it's a 9/32 bit. This one I could read. I can't really see it. At any rate, basically, you need a 9/32 bit. I can't guarantee that all these friction hinges are the same size, but if you measure with a caliper like I did, you'll find a 9/32 bit is around 2.60, I think. And what you have on the friction hinge is around, I don't know, 2.2 or something inches. So, but check them before you start drilling. You will notice that the hinges, it's very hard steel. I don't know if it's actually steel or some sort of aluminum alloy, but it's not the easiest thing to drill through, but you're only opening it up about 50 to 60 thousandths of an inch anyway. So your bit is going to jam in there a couple of times while you're drilling. It's a necessity to have a vise, a good size. This isn't a huge vise, but you know, you don't want to try to do it with one of those really tiny ones. This vise, I have it bolted to my workbench, and it works quite well. At any rate, once you get your friction hinges loosened up so they are no longer friction hinges, you can just go ahead and pop rivet them on, because 3 pop rivets on each hinge will easily hold up to any of the strain that a normal operating door is going to have, because it basically swings quite freely and doesn't put any strain on the hinges. The other nice thing is it's real easy to close the door. We had to slam that door to make it close with the friction hinges. Anyway, I hope this helps a few people anyway, and thanks for watching.